Welcome to the BioWad Warriors official YouTube channel. Today we are going to be starting a new series called Zombie Survival 101, the Emergency Survival Guide. The purpose of this series isn't necessarily to teach you every little detail or every skill to survive the zombie apocalypse. It is to give you a realistic timeline of the outbreak and give you a general guide to base short and long-term decisions off of. First of all, I would like to establish why I, specifically, am teaching this class. I worked as a biological specialist for the United States government for approximately 4 years. I did, however, ultimately decide to go into a different career path for reasons I will not go into today. Part 1. The Zombie Virus Explained. The Epidemiology of the Zombie Virus. More or less, we are going to be talking about how the zombie virus works and therefore how the zombies will actually function, which, as you will see, differs quite significantly from how most media portrays them. The zombie virus will likely be made from a bioweapon likely related to or modified from the rabies virus, with added symptoms such as necrosis of the flesh. These diseases are already very similar for many reasons, such as they are both transferred via bodily fluids, specifically saliva. The rabies virus and therefore the zombie virus will have at least a 99.99% fatality rate. Once symptoms appear with late-stage rabies, it is too late to get the shot, and only 2 individuals have survived late-stage rabies virus to date. Aggression, specifically biting. We see this more in animals with rabies than humans with rabies, although it does sometimes present. Obviously, with the zombie virus, we're going to see this symptom a lot more. The rabies virus has increased saliva production. I'm going to make the educated assumption that this is going to transfer to the zombie virus as well. And then decreased motor function. The late-stage rabies virus, and therefore the zombie virus, has decreased motor function, which will be much more severe in the zombie virus more than likely. However, they do share this symptom in common with each other. Now I'd like to go over some zombie virus specific symptoms that the rabies virus will likely be modified to have. The most obvious of which is necrosis of the flesh. This is the most obvious recognizable sign of a zombie. Another one is long-term memory loss. In rabies virus we get today, we mostly only see short-term memory loss. However, I think this will be modified to show long-term memory loss as well, which will explain the infected people losing their sense of self and reverting to animalistic nature. A much shorter incubation period. So with the rabies virus, depending on where you get bit, how close to the brain it is how long the incubation period is. If you get bit in the neck, for example, it's going to have a very short incubation period. If you get bit in the finger or toe, the incubation period is going to be a lot longer, even as much so as years in some cases. This is more than likely not going to be the case with the zombie virus. If you get bit, it's going to spread much quicker than the rabies virus would, therefore giving you less time to get a shot, anything like that, to prevent the actual permanent effects and fatality rate of the virus. And then another symptom I think is going to be very important for actually causing an apocalypse rather than just a pandemic is going to be short burst aggression before the virus fully takes hold. So with the rabies virus, you do get aggressive outbursts, but I think that with the zombie virus, they're going to be sudden, unwarranted outbursts. One minute you're going to be talking to your friend Joe, and then the next minute he's suddenly going to bite you when you say something that he just didn't like, and then the next minute he's going to be fine. The reason I think this is it allows for much greater spread of the virus because you won't necessarily be able to tell when you're about to be bit by someone. Now that a basic overview of the symptoms are compared and contrasted, I would like to talk about how the zombie virus will differ from how it is portrayed in media today. So several ways it may differ is it may or may not affect animals, and which animals it are going to affect. No one's going to be raising from the dead. The zombie virus isn't going to kill and revive you. It is just going to be a virus that causes necrosis of the flesh, aggression, memory loss, stuff like that. You're not actually dying. Zombies won't likely lose their immediate sense of self. Like I said, even though this is a much more aggressive and fast-acting virus than the rabies virus, it's not like in media where they're a human you turn around and they're a green zombie. That's not realistic. More than likely, it's going to start with the uncontrollable outbursts of biting, and then move to where they lose their sense of self. Depending on the specific symptoms of the virus, likely shooting the heart, neck, or lungs may be enough to put down a zombie. Just because they have these aggressive tendencies, necrosis of the flesh, etc., doesn't mean they're invincible. It doesn't mean that the only way to kill them is to put down their head, pretty much. Like, if you shoot them in the heart, the muscles still aren't going to function because they have no oxygen going to them. A zombie may look, even act like a human in early stages. As I gave an example with the anger outburst, your best friend Joe could still be your best friend Joe. He might have a bite on his top of his leg that you can't see over his khakis at work. But he's still ultimately going to have those anger outbursts and may bite you, despite the fact he's talking fine, acting coherent. With that being said, I would like to go over a few mutations or changes made to the virus that would create less likely but more dangerous zombies. Number 1 is that the pain center of the brain would shut down, allowing them not to feel pain. Number 2 is that they'd have advanced coagulation or blood clotting. Basically, this would create the scenario to where you shoot the limb off, they may still be able to move around. I think the nervous system may even function without critical organs such as the heart. In a similar way, you see a dead body get shocked by electricity and the muscles still twitch. And necrosis may stop at a point to keep the body alive. It may not be one of those let's simply wait out the pandemic and let them kill themselves via necrosis, because the virus wants to survive and spread. So it may be modified to stop the necrosis process before the patient actually dies, therefore creating a much more longer lasting zombie. If you have these extra symptoms that are not necessarily the most realistic but still entirely possible, your only choice will be, similarly to the media, aim for the head. Because if it can function without limbs, it can function without oxygen, then you're going to have to aim for the head to shut down the nervous system. The only thing that movement is not possible for 100% without. With all of this, there are a lot of assumptions we'll have to explain and assume in order to turn a likely pandemic into a likely apocalypse. We will cover all of that in future parts of this series that discuss the slow breakdown of society and how the virus could realistically spread to be a world-ending pandemic. If you are looking forward to part 2 of the series, please like and subscribe and leave a comment about any video suggestions you have or about any survival questions you may have. This is Vic with the Bioad Warriors, signing out.